Hello, I'm Mark. Welcome to Celestial Divide. Right now, we'll take a look at how to simulate a future cash flow in Celestial Divide and how you should think about that. So, whether it's a reimbursement on a mortgage payment or spousal support or whatever type of future cash flow it may be, what you'll want to put into Celestial Divide is the present value of those cash flows. For those of you that are working on that, present value is taking a discount rate on any set of future cash flows. So let's say somebody is required to pay $12,000 at the end of each year for 15 years. That could add up to $180,000 in value. Of course, that is not what it is worth today because of things like inflation or opportunity costs. And so what we want to do is use a discount rate. In this case, it is 10%, and apply that to this future cash flow lineup. So if we apply that, we can say, hey, $91,272.95 is what we value that spousal support at, and that's what we will enter into Celestial Divide. Once you are working for your client, you can enter a higher bid, which essentially says, I don't expect to earn 10% in the future, or maybe I'm more of a conservative investor than that, or maybe I have a greater appreciation of steady income, in which case you could be justified in using something like a 4% discount rate, which is closer to today's current bonds. And if you did use 4%, that would justify a bid of, say, something like $133,000. Conversely, if we're in a high interest rate environment and people are laughing at things like 10%, and you expect to earn 15% on these cash flows, then you would currently value it at $70,000. So let's go back to our original of 10% discount. We have a net present value of $91,272.95. If you expect to earn those higher rates of return, you can certainly put in a lower number as your bid. Say this person bids, we'll call it 75,000 on this one, and maybe the other spouse is appreciating or greatly appreciating that steady income and they're offering 125,000. That will actually still work within Celestial Divide to pan it out. Of course, if you are in a contentious divorce and you're looking to get as much money in compensation from the other person, what you do want to do is maybe get that person to bid as high as possible for that steady income, and you would hope to enter a number just slightly lower so that you are compensated via the jealousy and not the agreed upon net present value. So there is still a game, a lot of negotiation ahead of when you enter your bids into Celestial Divide during a divorce. However, you don't want to still be having that conversation once the data is input. That is your blind bid. You should be held to that. And if they happen to have said 120,000 is what I want, you may actually win out that spousal support, which I suppose would mean that it's going the other direction at that time. That is how you can work with cash flows and reimbursements. Keep in mind a lower bid means higher expected rate of return or a lower appreciation of steady income in the future. A higher bid is going to place a greater emphasis on the steady income. And of course, if you're doing a cordial bidding process, you can just enter the 91,272. If you're looking to do this yourself on Excel, NPV is the function I'm using here. You can also use XNPV. That's going to pull up a calendar or date so that you can enter the dates in which those are going to come through. If they're on unequal amounts, you simply enter the discount rate here first, or expected rate of return, 0.1, and then you can enter amounts such as $12,000 and see that $12,000 at the end of the year is only worth $10,909 at the beginning of the year because you would expect to earn money on that money up front equals X NPV. You'll see you just get one more comma area where you're allowed to enter the dates in case they're not at the end of each calendar year, which can be helpful if you have monthly payments or uneven monthly or weekly payments or something like that. Hope that helps. And as always, feel free to reach out and we're happy to answer those questions and get things going. Just keep in mind that the balance sheet isn't everything that can be sold off. In your guys' case, is also future cash flows that are being promised from one spouse to the other as well, whether it's for reimbursement or just as additional income to that individual. You can do this with IRAs, Roth IRAs, and the like. You probably want to talk to a financial advisor or be savvy enough to understand the various discount rates on those types of assets and that kind of timing if that is the case. And yes, please reach out and we look forward to speaking with you. Bye.